Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kay, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic which I haven't spoken too much about, which is why I got rejected from my first junior software developer interview after making it to the final round, and what I did to improve and secure 4 job offers just about a month later. So this role was advertised through the coding bootcamp that I did, Makers Academy, and the product itself is essentially a cloud-based payment system between banks. And this interview consisted of 3 rounds. The first round was an application stage, the second round was a HR interview, and the third round was a technical interview with 2 engineers. So the first round, which was the application, it wasn't too tricky. What I did was I used the company's fiscal year report, or annual report as you might see it called, which is just a report that companies release every year, and inside it they give what they're investing money on, their long-term goals, and just generally what the product is. And I would advise always looking at any company's annual report, fiscal year report, just because it summarizes for you exactly what the company's main goals are, and then you can use that in your application stage to make it seem like, well, for me, make it seem like I knew what I was talking about. So that was fine. The next stage was a HR interview on the phone. So that consisted with a member of HR along with 2 engineers that were listening in, obviously because the person in HR might not be able to validate certain technical things. So that was actually really good as well, because I'd read the company's annual year report. I knew what the product was, exactly what challenges they were facing, and because I had a lot of practice with competency questions, I've got a video on competency questions, check that out. That interview with HR went really well. I got feedback from them saying that they were completely blown away and they've never had someone so knowledgeable about the company that they've interviewed before. So that did give me a lot of a false sense of overconfidence, because the next round is where I made some very basic errors. So the final round, which was the on-site technical interview with 2 engineers. Now, they really focused on fundamental questions, so make sure you know your fundamentals such as object-oriented programming, which is what they focused on. And the first question they gave me, which is where I made my first mistake, was to describe a project I had been working on outside of the bootcamp. Now, I made the rookie error of giving a very high-level overview of exactly what the project was and how I hosted it. I didn't go in depth from a programmatic point of view, which is what they would usually want. So I didn't explain what kind of classes I'd created, what functions they had, and how I was planning for edge cases and testing around it. So I gave them a very sort of generic overview and not a very in-depth overview. So that was my first mistake. They then asked me a question on object-oriented programming. So they asked me to describe how I would convert a bicycle into different classes. So we know that bikes are made of different components, like a wheel, frame, it can hold a certain number of riders or passengers, however you want to call it. And the second follow-up question was, how can I create a car? Now, this again goes into some more concepts of object-oriented programming, such as inheritance. So obviously a bicycle has wheels and a car has wheels. So you can kind of figure out, okay, the car will inherit the wheels from the bike. The final part of the interview was a whiteboarding exercise, and this is where I made quite a few rookie errors. So the question itself was to design a payment system between 2 users where one user can make a payment to another user. Now, because I'd already done something similar in the past during the bootcamp, I already kind of had a basic concept in mind. So I went straight up and I decided, okay, I'm going to obviously have some kind of user account class which has your basic details, and then there's going to be transactions, and then I have a transaction class, and then so on. I should not have done that. That was a big mistake. What I should have done is spend about the first 80% of my total time just asking questions and ensuring I've gotten every single requirement down. So even to minute details such as what should I name my classes, what should I name the functions, exactly what input and output I'm expecting, all of that I need to have just made sure I understood that and had that written down before I even touched the whiteboard. So if you've done any kind of tech test review with a senior developer, Makers Academy tends to do those, I believe other bootcamps do as well, then is very similar to that, and I should have treated it in that way, but instead I kind of wanted to show off my technical skills and just dive straight into it. So I did have kind of a solution, but I sort of ignored what they were looking for, which was ensuring I had all the requirements down from the start. So I found out a few days later I obviously didn't get the offer, so I decided to set some actionable goals for myself. I spent the following 3 weeks just improving. So what I did was I spent more time doing mock interviews. I did a tech review with a senior developer where I practiced just writing down and getting as much of the requirements out of them before I even touched the keyboard and start coding anything, just so I would be prepared for that. And I also started working on my own fully independent project, which was basically a cryptocurrency trade analysis tool. I built it all from scratch myself. I tested everything, edge cases, and what I did in my following interviews is I took my laptop with me. And this is a really, really helpful tip, is take your laptop with you if you have a project, because they're most likely going to ask you to explain a project. And I kind of used that as a visual aid just to walk them through the different classes and everything that were in there, and that I felt was very, very effective. So following on from that, 4 weeks later, I managed to receive 4 offers, which was really surprising for me. And I've accepted one, which I'm still at. It's an asset management firm working in a back-end C# developer role, which I really, really enjoy. And it really went to show that from that initial failure, there was a lot that I could learn and a lot that I could improve on. But the point is to set yourself actionable goals. So things that you can actually do and measure in a certain time frame. So you've probably heard of SMART targets. Just setting myself goals in order to take an area of failure, figure out how I failed, reflect on how I could improve, and then actioning that improvement and setting myself a time frame to do all of this in. And that was really, really effective in helping me secure those job offers just 1 month later. So overall moral of the story is always ask for feedback, set yourself SMART targets, and just don't give up, because you will get there eventually. That's all for today. If you have any questions, then feel free to leave comments in the video below. I'm happy to help you with any advice or anything. And if you like the content, then please do like and subscribe to continue supporting my content, and share this with anyone you think it might be beneficial. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.